jobs and feeling confident about themselves and their future. I loved it because you could see the results. And today there are more than 100 hippie programs across America. And I believe that we need to revitalize efforts like that to help even more families be the very best first teachers of their own children. And now some of you may remember that back in those years, we had a lot of challenges in our schools. In fact, I remember Bill looking at a survey and getting so upset because Arkansas schools ranked near the very bottom of the nation. Many high schools didn't even offer a single class in subjects like chemistry, art, or foreign languages. And so we decided we wanted to work with everybody across the state to try to change that. Bill and I both believed that improving education would make Arkansas more competitive and help more families lift themselves up. I was very honored to be asked by Bill to chair the Arkansas Education Standards Committee, and with our members we crisscrossed the state asking for ideas, going to Craighead and Crittenden and Little River and Washington counties. We listened to what people thought was working and what wasn't. And we proposed some changes. Not everybody agreed with everything we proposed, but we included higher standards along with higher pay for teachers. And convincing the legislature was not easy, but it was accomplished because there was a common understanding we had to do more. And by the time Bill left office, Arkansas had raised school standards dramatically. Teachers had received desperately needed raises. And the same national education expert who said in 1978 we had perhaps the worst public schools in America said in 1992 we did something almost nobody else has been able to do. We had more students graduating high school than anywhere in the South, and more kids than ever going to college. So I mention these two examples because I loved working with so many of you and so many others across the state. I really was proud of the progress we made together and the friendships and the lessons that we learned. As I begin this new campaign, I want to take those lessons and others of my public and private life and put them to work. You know, elections are always about the future, and now I feel that even more powerfully, perhaps because our country has worked so hard to come back from the financial crisis. We were in a terrible position in 2008. The determination of the American people, the hard work of President Obama and his administration, we were able to dig ourselves out of that ditch. But we're not yet where we need to be, are we? We have a lot of work still ahead of us. And we have to choose whether we're going to return to the failed top-down policies that wrecked our economy before, or move forward to chart a stronger, fairer, more prosperous future. And to me, this is really personal. Maybe it is the grandmother in me. There is something about becoming a grandparent that is quite transformational, I have discovered. It anchors you in the present. You suddenly have this incredible, amazing little person who commands a lot of attention, but it also forces you to think about the future in a new way. What kind of world will be waiting for her? What kind of America will we have when she becomes an adult? And what are our responsibilities to help shape that future? You know, Democrats are in the future business. But from the Republican candidates for president, we see the opposite. They may have some fresh faces, but they are the party of the past. We Democrats look at America and see limitless potential. We believe in a basic bargain. If you work hard and you do your part, you should be able to get ahead and stay ahead. And we believe that the measure of our success should be how much incomes rise for hard-working families, not just for CEOs and money managers. But Republicans believe something very different. Their answer to everything is always the same. Cut taxes for the super wealthy. Let big corporations write their own rules. That's basically it. Trickle-down economics has to be one of the worst ideas of the 1980s. It is right up there with New Coke, shoulder pads, and big hair. I lived through that. There are photographs, and believe me, we're not going back. This past Monday, I laid out an agenda for rising incomes so hard-working Americans can afford a middle-class life again. An agenda for strong growth, fair growth, and long-term growth. That will be my mission from the first day I'm president to the last. You see, I don't think this is about left or right, or even, as Mike Beebe said, Democrats or Republicans. This is about America's future. And I know that we have it within us to make these hard choices together. Now, I am well aware that here in Arkansas, last year was a hard one for Democrats. But don't forget, voters did come out and pass an increase in the minimum wage. Arkansas voters know paychecks need to grow. They know the economy is still stacked for those at the top. We just have to offer a plan for more growth and more fairness they can believe in and vote for. This campaign has to be about the future and about how we unlock the potential of every American, because that's how we will unlock the potential of America itself. Now, I'm already having a great debate with the Republicans about what that means for our country. In the past week, Governor Bush scrambled to explain his statement that Americans just need to work longer hours. He now says he just wants part-time workers to be able to find full-time jobs. Well, so do I. There's just one problem. His policies and the policies of all the Republican candidates make that harder. Giving more tax cuts to those at the top will not do anything for part-time workers. Rolling back rules for Wall Street won't help families get ahead. And getting rid of the Affordable Care Act won't help entrepreneurs. Just ask the folks in the sharing economy who say it's huge for business. Americans don't need a lecture, they need a raise. If Republicans really want to help, why don't they join us in breaking down barriers so more Americans can enter and succeed in the workforce, especially women? You see, I have this old-fashioned idea we can't afford to leave talent on the sidelines. Women who want to work should be able to do so without worrying every day about how they're going to take care of their child or what will happen if a family member gets sick. That's not a luxury, it's a necessity. It's a growth strategy. talk about this, some people think, there she goes again with the women's issues. Well, I am going to keep going. I believe it's sick days, child care, these aren't women's issues, they're family issues, they're economic issues, they're American issues. And yes, I'm going to keep fighting for equal pay for equal work. When women get ahead, families get ahead, and then America gets ahead. And I'm going to keep fighting for strong growth, fair growth, long-term growth, for investments in infrastructure, technology, science, clean energy that will create the next generation of high-paying jobs. And I am going to fight for small businesses which actually create most of the jobs in this country. And just like I did in Arkansas, I'm going to keep fighting to give every child the opportunity to get a strong start in life with quality preschool for every single 4-year-old. And I will fight to make college truly affordable and to help Americans Education should lift up young people, not drag you down. And I will fight back against every attempt to weaken the tough rules imposed on Wall Street. We can do that and still ease the burdens on community banks to encourage responsible loans to local people and businesses they know and trust. We need to make sure there's accountability on Wall Street, prosperity on Main Street. The stories of misconduct in the financial industry are shocking, allowing drug cartels to launder money, conspiring to manipulate interest rates. There can be no justification or tolerance for this kind of criminal behavior. And while big institutions have paid fines, too often it has seemed that the human beings responsible get off with no consequences at all. This is just plainly wrong, and on my watch it will change. We will prosecute people who commit crimes, individuals as well as corporations. And when the government recovers money from those who harm the public, it should go into a separate trust fund to benefit the public. It could help us modernize infrastructure or even be returned directly to taxpayers. But you know, unlocking potential goes beyond dollars and cents. It is about our values, how we treat each other, the kind of country we want to build together. Last night, the new Republican frontrunner was here in Arkansas. Yes, Donald Trump, finally a candidate whose hair gets more attention than mine. But there's nothing funny about the hate he is spewing at immigrants and their families, And now, the insults he's directed at a genuine war hero, Senator John McCain. It's shameful, and so is the fact that it took so long for most of his fellow Republican candidates to start standing up to him. The sad truth is, if you look at many of their policies, it can be hard to tell the difference. We can't let Republicans take us back to yesterday. We are not going back to trickle-down economics and the Wild West on Wall Street. We're not going back to insurance companies writing their own rules, even charging women more than men for the very same health care coverage. We are not going back to denying climate change. Now, if you ask most of these Republican candidates about that, they'll say, sorry, I'm not a scientist. Well, then why don't they start listening to those who are scientists? You know, I'm not a scientist either. I'm just a grandmother with 2 eyes and a brain. And I believe that we can move forward into a clean energy future powered by renewables like solar, wind, and advanced biofuels. And that's exactly what we should do, because we will create millions of new, good jobs if we do that. So I'm not going to let them take us backwards. But I need you to join me. I need you to help build up the Democratic Party in this state again. A party that did so much over so many years to move this state forward. It will take time. It's not going to happen overnight. But we need to start recruiting good Democratic candidates and then running them at every level to take back school boards and county offices and, yes, the state legislature, and hold on to the White House. I started tonight talking about my granddaughter, but I want to close by saying a few words about the other person I've been thinking a lot about today, coming back here to Little Rock, and that's my late mother, Dorothy. Some of you knew her, some of you had a chance to spend time with her. She loved living in Little Rock. She loved going out to dinner. She loved seeing her friends. She loved doting on her granddaughter. But she probably never told you what her childhood was like. Abandoned and mistreated by her own family, she was out on her own by 14, working as a housemaid. But she didn't give in to bitterness or despair. I remember asking her, how did you keep going? How did you keep your faith in the goodness of people and a future that would be better than the past? And she told me that at critical moments in a life that felt really, really lonely, someone believed she mattered. The first grade teacher who saw she had nothing to eat at lunch and without embarrassing her brought extra food to share. The woman whose house she cleaned, suggesting she go to high school so long as she got her work done and came back right after school was over to finish her chores. And because those people believed in her, she was able to believe in me and to give me the great gift of believing in others and in our country. My mother wasn't surprised that my first job out of law school was at the Children's Defense Fund. And she wasn't surprised that I've spent much of my life working for and fighting for women and children, families, and our country. After all, that's what she taught me to do. And she never stopped pushing me to always think about what I could do for others to have the opportunities she never had. I hear her say every day, life's not about what happens to you, it's about what you do with what happens to you. So get back out there. That's why I'm here today. That's why I'm so determined to build a better future, not just for our granddaughter, but for all of our children and grandchildren. It's why I am never going to let the Republicans rip away the progress we have made together. I'm running to make our country work better for you and for every American, for the struggling, the striving, and the successful. I'm running for the nurses who work the night shift and the truckers who drive for hours, for the factory workers and the food servers who stand on their feet all day, for the veterans who served our country, for the farmers who feed us, and the small business owners who took a risk. I'm running for the young entrepreneurs and the innovators whose ideas and dreams will shape our future. I'm running for everyone who's ever been knocked down but refused to be knocked out. I'm running for you, and I want you by my side. Together we are going to build an America where we don't leave anyone out or anyone behind, where if you work hard and do your part, you will get ahead and stay ahead, and where a father can tell his daughter, yes, you can be anything you want to be, even President of the United States.